A lot of us have been bothered by the biased media coverage coming out of Ukraine, where many reporters are making questionable remarks about race. For example, he mentioned something about being sad because the Ukrainians have blonde hair and blue eyes. This guy Daniel Hanna makes mention of Ukrainians being a European country and that people there watch Netflix and have Instagram accounts. And then we have this infamous quote by this reporter who said, "This isn't a place like Afghanistan or Iraq that has seen conflict raging for decades. This is a relatively civilized, relatively European city." I have to give you a history lesson. The lands of modern-day Iraq and Afghanistan were cradles of ancient civilization. You guys have heard about Mesopotamia, but you probably haven't heard about Ariana, which was the ancient name of the land of Afghanistan, and its other civilizations like Bactria or Mundigak, the Helmand Valley civilization near Kandahar. Then, during the Islamic Golden Age, which started in the 7th century, polymaths and intellectuals from Central Asia learned Arabic and moved to Baghdad, and they built the House of Wisdom. It was the greatest library the world had ever seen up until that point. So there were multiple cities where scholars, astronomers, physicians, philosophers, mathematicians, scientists, engineers, writers, poets, and artists thrived, and they shared ideas. If you want to learn more about that period, I highly suggest this book, Lost Enlightenment by Frederick Starr. It was a time when people from different cultures, ethnicities worked together to discover new knowledge and understand more about the world. Their discoveries led Europe out of the Dark Ages. So some of the ideas that came out of the Central Asian and Islamic world are included in this book. It's called 1001 Invention and Awesome Facts from the Muslim Civilization. I got this for my kids. Let's just go through some of them. Towns were highly organized and advanced for their time. Garden design. Schools. A Muslim woman founded the first university. Some contributions to fashion. Astronomy. Lunar calculations. Constellations. Advancements in flight and the invention of the hand glider. Advancements in vision, optics, and the invention of the pinhole camera. Advancements in numbers, Al-Khwarizmi and the algorithm, algebra, invention of the mechanical clocks, stringed instruments that led to the violin and guitar, an entire section about the contributions to medicine, especially from Ibn Sina, surgical advancements, earth science, architecture, art and design, fabrics and textiles, and hygiene, which I'll cover in another video, and so much more. I think it's a good beginner's guide to anyone who thinks that Muslims are barbaric and violent and backwards. Pick up this book and it'll give you an idea of all the contributions that Muslims have made in a very condensed way. Again, in part 1, I talk about a lot of them, and this one, we're gonna go into detail. It's 50 fresh facts about keeping clean. Hygiene. During medieval times in the Dark Ages in Europe, they weren't even taking baths, and Muslims were washing themselves 5 times a day for prayers and developed a lot of cosmetic products that we use today, such as soap, breath fresheners, lipstick, sunscreens, hair removing sticks, so many others. Al-Zahrawi, a physician and surgeon from Muslim Spain, wrote about hair and skin care, teeth whitening, and gum strengthening. Public baths or hammams were really popular. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, scrubbed his teeth with a twig of miswak before each prayer time, which is still popular today. 1,000 years ago, a Muslim musician called Ziryab the Blackbird invented toothpaste. And we come to perfume. The alembic, a glass container containing distillation, bears an Arabic name. So perfume made its way to France, where 700 years later, the perfume industry developed. Muslim methods and ideas about hygiene filtered into Europe by way of merchants, travelers, and crusaders. So before you view the Muslim world as uncivilized, remember these contributions in part 1 and 2 that help make Europe civilized. The people of Afghanistan, Iraq, Yemen, Syria, Palestine, and so many other war-torn countries and places deserve the same amount of sympathy and respect as European war victims and refugees, not to feel dehumanized by news reports like these. A refugee is a refugee no matter what part of the world, and no matter what color their hair, eyes, or skin is.